Good morning. This is Akashvani. I'm Sunil Verma with World News. The headlines. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stresses the need to show zero tolerance towards terrorist activities. Citizens criticizes world's double standards in applying sanctions. Russia to launch world's first nuclear power system with a closed fuel cycle by 2030. Palestinian President condemns Hamas, says ready to work with US on peace plan. US President Donald Trump signs executive order allowing TikTok under US ownership. And in Asia Cup cricket, Pakistan beat Bangladesh to set up the first ever Asia Cup final against India. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that those who are fighting against terrorism are performing a service to the international community. Presenting the case of Operation Sindoor at G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New York, Mr. Jaishankar stressed the need for the world to show zero tolerance towards terrorist activities. The External Affairs Minister also criticized the world's double standards in applying sanctions. He pointed out that sanctions disrupt supplies, logistics, and increase costs, creating pressure on nations. Mr. Jaishankar pointed out how peace and development have both suffered, especially affecting the global south due to soaring prices of energy, food, and fertilizers.
It is imperative that the world display neither tolerance nor accommodation to terrorist activities. Given the extensive networking among terrorists, those who act against them on any front actually render a larger service to the international community as a whole. As we confront conflict, economic pressures and terrorism, the limitations of multilateralism and the United Nations in particular are visible. The need for reforming multilateralism has never been greater.
President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia will launch the world's first nuclear power system with a closed fuel cycle by 2030 at the World Atomic Week Forum in Moscow. Putin said that the system will reuse up to 95% of spent fuel, drastically cutting radioactive waste and easing uranium demand, and called it one of Russia's proudest scientific achievements. The system is to be built in the Tomsk region. Putin invited international scientists to join testing efforts at a new research center in Ulyanovsk. He emphasized Russia's rejection of technological colonialism, saying Moscow helps nations build independent nuclear programs while maintaining high safety and non-proliferation standards. Putin called it a breakthrough in clean energy and urged global cooperation and new financing models to expand nuclear power access worldwide. International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi and other global leaders were present at the event. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has condemned Hamas and expressed willingness to work with US President Donald Trump on a UN-backed peace plan. Speaking via video after being barred from the UN General Assembly, President Abbas said that he was ready to work with the US, France and Saudi Arabia to implement the peace plan adopted this week by the UN General Assembly, where the number of countries recognizing Palestine's statehood rose to more than 150. Abbas warned against Israeli moves to annex Palestinian territories, which threatened the two-state solution supported by the UN. Abbas accused Israel of genocide and settlement expansion and called for Arab and international forces to protect Palestinians after Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order approving a deal that could keep TikTok alive in the US, easing national security concerns and paving the way for American ownership of the popular app. TikTok's Chinese parent company will retain only a minority stake, while US investors are set to hold about 80% under a new joint venture. In a statement, US President Donald Trump said American investors have invested in TikTok and it'll be great for the USA.
I had a very good talk with President Xi, and we talked about TikTok and other things. He gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies, great ones, great investors, the biggest. Points of the deal, I think, are great for our country. We have American investors taking it over, running it, highly sophisticated.
This is Akashvani giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our X handle at AIR News Alerts. And for details of stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and download News on AIR app. India has informed that 3 container loads of relief materials reached Kabul, Afghanistan via the Chabahar port and were handed over to Afghan authorities. This assistance is part of India's ongoing humanitarian support following the recent earthquake in the region. The consignment included food items, water purifiers, protein powder, tin sheets, sleeping bags, hygiene kits, water storage tanks, generator sets, family tents, blankets, essential medicines, and other medical supplies. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he would be ready to step down after the war with Russia is over. In an interview with the US private media today, Zelensky said if the war is over, he will not go for elections. He explained that he wanted to help Ukraine during the war, and his only goal right now is to finish the war. Zelensky also said that he would ask the parliament to hold elections if a ceasefire was reached. The president of Ukraine, a former comedian, was elected in 2019, and although an election was due in 2024, it was suspended because of martial law after Russia's military operation in February 2022. In Nepal, the Election Commission has announced that the collection and updating of the voter roll will continue until mid-November for citizens who turn 18 by March 4th next year. The decision was taken at a meeting of the Commission yesterday following an ordinance issued by President Ramachandra Paudel. Earlier, the registration process had been halted after June the 30th due to the Rupandehi by-election. US President Donald Trump has announced a new wave of tariffs, including a 100% tax on imported branded drugs unless the company builds manufacturing plants in the US. He also unveiled a 25% tariff on heavy-duty trucks and a 50% levy on kitchen and bathroom cabinets to shield American industries from what he calls a flooding of foreign products. The tariffs extend to upholstered furniture, which will face a 30% duty starting next week. Moving on to the world of sports. In cricket, Pakistan defeated Bangladesh by 11 runs in their Super 4 clash of the Asia Cup 2025 in Dubai last night. With this win, Pakistan will now face India for the first time in an Asia Cup final. We have more from the sports desk.
India and Pakistan will meet in the Asia Cup 2025 final for the first time in the tournament's history. Pakistan qualified for the final with an 11-run victory over Bangladesh. After being invited to bat first, Pakistan scored 135 for 8 in 20 overs. In reply, Bangladesh fell 11 runs short of the target. Shaheen Afridi was named player of the match for his clinical all-round performance with both bat and ball. Meanwhile, in another Super 4 encounter before the finals, India will face Sri Lanka in Dubai this evening. Next, we have from football, where India under-17 men's football team secured a 3-0 victory over Nepal in the semi-final of the SAFF under-17 championship in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This win ensures their place in the final, where they will face Bangladesh. With this win, the Blue Colts continue their unbeaten run and remain on track for a 4th consecutive title in the tournament. And in archery, India has assured at least 3 medals at the Para Archery World Championships in South Korea, with a historic 3 Indian players to play for gold medal in the compound open category. With Nandini, Chirag Joy, Sports Desk.
And now, before we close, here are the highlights of the bulletin. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stresses the need to show zero tolerance towards terrorist activities, criticizes world's double standards in applying sanctions. Russia to launch world's first nuclear power system with a closed fuel cycle by 2030. Palestinian President condemns Hamas, says ready to work with US on peace plan. US President Donald Trump signs executive order allowing TikTok under US ownership. And in Asia Cup cricket, Pakistan beat Bangladesh to set up the first ever Asia Cup final against India. And that is the end of this news bulletin.